When Chris was young, we were told that if he's not cured or talking by the time he's 5, it's over.
I didn't realize what kind of a problem this is until I had one.
She was born in 1986, which is even earlier than Tyler, so you can imagine what it was like then. That was at the height of the crack epidemic. They were absolutely convinced that my child was having withdrawals.
Well, it was very difficult for me. I think I came home crying in the car. I do remember that.
We had children and we'd say, oh, they're autistic, and people would say, oh, they can draw nicely.
I know, my godmother said the same thing.
It's like, no, not artistic, autistic. Back when our kids were small, it wasn't like that. Autism was a word that people would say, huh? What? What's that? But now, I often say it's become the Chanel of the developmental disabilities.
Yeah. When Nadine McNeil's 17-year-old son Tyler was first diagnosed with autism in 1993, most people didn't understand it and they were afraid.
We had our kids in the subway and they would be exhibiting behaviors that were not appropriate. And we'd say, sorry, our children have autism, they're autistic. The car would clear.
Autism is a complex developmental disorder that shows symptoms during the first few years of life. Doctors believe it is caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. The signs of autism can be subtle or obvious. Nowadays, we talk of an autism spectrum. It ranges from people with very low functioning abilities to high functioning or Asperger's syndrome. But what they all have in common is problems with behavioral and social skills.
More and more people seem to be affected by autism, whether it's a nephew or someone I work with has an autistic child, or, my cousin's friend is autistic.
But it isn't clear if more people are actually getting autism or if the doctors are getting better at diagnosing it. Also, the definition of autism has broadened. The autism spectrum now includes cases that were previously not considered as autism.
When he had his bad behaviors, when he would bite himself till you bleed, or hit his head on the ground until you get calcification of his skull, your heart bleeds, and you couldn't do anything to stop it. You tried everything.
Gary Whiteson heads an organization called Parents of Autistic Children, or POAC, in New Jersey. His 14-year-old son Chris was diagnosed with autism when he was 3.
The audiologist said, oh, don't worry about it, my own children don't listen to me. We hired a private speech therapist and never mentioned autism. That went on for a year, multiple appointments just to evaluate our son, and no one mentioned autism.
These challenges are not limited to early youth. Dawn Harney's daughter Diana was born in 1986 but wasn't diagnosed with autism until she was 5. That meant 5 years of frustration and agony dealing with Diana's erratic behavior and seizures. But it wasn't just the first 5 years that caused the agony.
Diana at puberty went to a really difficult behavioral patch. She would break things, hit, very aggressive. And I thought I couldn't handle it. I thought that I was going to lose my mind because I didn't understand this wonderful, sweet, and you look at her, she's beautiful and she was wonderful, sweet child turn into this thing. I was terrified that she's going to kill me. I would kill her.
Autism diagnoses are increasing the way an epidemic would. Currently, 1 in every 150 children is diagnosed with the disorder. That's a big increase from just a decade ago when some estimates were as low as 1 in every 10,000 children. The Autism Society of America estimates that autism is growing at about 10% a year, with over 1.5 million Americans diagnosed with it.
Chris had a very difficult time. He had no functional language, only a handful of words, and his behaviors were extreme. Hundreds and hundreds of self-injurious behaviors a day, and we tried everything. We've seen when Christopher, what calms him to music. Now this tape bothers him. He throws his fingers in his ear and screaming.
Dr. Robert Nassif is a psychologist and a parent counselor. His 25-year-old son has autism. He says his learning to cope with the challenges has helped him better counsel other parents.
Kids with this condition are different and difficult in reference to like really basic things: eating, sleeping, going to the toilet. So you sort of have to break the problems into little parts and try to make progress in those in each area.
And that's what therapists do.
Navneet, do you want this? No. No. Tell me no. That was big on us. Like, we didn't know why he was crying at all.
Tara Shrikant is a special education teacher in New Jersey. She says she takes every opportunity to make Navneet communicate.
Navneet, you want to eat? Yes. What do you want to eat? Bread? Bread. Cheese? Bread. Okay. You want egg? Egg. Show me. Egg. Nope, not next. Egg. Look, do this. Egg. 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 Alright, I'll give you egg.
Navneet cannot perform basic everyday tasks easily.
Out.
He also has difficulty communicating, and that makes him a low-functioning child. Navneet is an only child, and Tara is concerned about his future when she won't be able to care for him anymore.
My son, I want him to learn life skills. I want him to learn to live independently. And I want him to learn, some job skills that he is good at. He's learned certain things, and I just want him to be a happy child more than anything. Just be happy. I mean, what more can you expect in life than just being happy?
Learning life skills is key as children with autism become adults with autism.
Under the water. Wash.
To help develop life skills like basic household chores, parents teach their children every step in the process.
And stop. Pull a paper towel. Rip it. Okay.
This approach works most of the time.
Go on. Do it. Clean.
But it can also be a double-edged sword. The step-by-step approach is essential in building independence. But the patterns create their own problems and can be a major challenge during big life-changing periods.
Red and green.
Dawn's 21-year-old daughter Diana loves to get her nails done, but she's anxious about graduating from high school, and this reflects in her everyday life.
When you supposed to go shopping?
We're gonna go shopping on the 22nd.
22nd, get a Pathmark. You did not necessarily get apple pie.
No, we're not doing it on the 22nd. We're gonna do it on the 24th.
Get grandma on 22nd.
No, we're gonna go on the 25th. On Christmas Day, we're going to Grandma.
The 24th?
25th, we're going to Grandma.
24th, go to Pathmark?
Yes, we're going to go shopping on the 24th.
24th, go to Grandma.
25th, we go to Grandma. Christmas Day, we go to Grandma.
On the 24th, get Pathmark, you get apple pie. You get Pathmark on the 24th and ice cream.
So you have to be patient because what? It's not time yet, okay?
And it's frustrating because she asks me the same thing over and over again, and sometimes I'm not as patient as I should be, and then she'll apologize. She's like, I'm sorry, I can't help it. So I know it's anxiety.
24th is Pathmark?
Yeah, 24th. Okay, so we're going to put the 24th in the planner. We're going to go shopping at Pathmark. Okay.
And 26th, you go in the movies? December 27th.
What do you mean, what happened December 27th?
You go see Joelle and Jerry and Michael.
I know, I think we have to ask them first.
No Jerry, no Michael today?
We will see. I don't know. We will see.
Cups. Right here. Right here. Go put in the sink.
Shrikant Venkatachari is Tara's husband. He says having a child with autism changed his perception of life.
I didn't realize what kind of a problem this is until I had one. Never understood the parent angle, how deeply it affects being a parent. Like nobody else will understand, nobody else with normal children will understand what we are going through.
We have families that won't come over the house. Families that won't let their children be friends with their other two because they're somehow afraid of Christopher.
It's kind of not normal for them. So we started gradually reducing all these outings, and we don't bring people here anymore.
Now, although they say don't become an autistic family, I think we did become an autistic family at that point, that we ourselves shunned from doing so many things that we would have done if we had a normal child. I wouldn't go to baby showers. I wouldn't go to many of the functions that I would have done if Navneet was a normal child. I just didn't go to many of the Indian functions because of sentimental reasons that it wouldn't be appreciated. I still don't. I still don't go to Indian baby showers. I don't go for naming ceremony. I just don't go. I mean, it's sentimental, so I don't go.
I have no social life. Zero social life. My social life revolves totally around autism. We go out with other families with kids with autism. We go out to dances if it's to raise money for autism. Our events that we go to all revolve around autism. At times I wish that wasn't the case, but it's who we are now.
We cannot go out as a normal parents, so there's always, we have to take care of him, we have to hold him all the time. If he's shouting, everybody's looking at you.
Tyler at 17 has come a long way since he was first diagnosed. But he still needs to be watched constantly by Nadine because he can't communicate verbally. So if he wants to go out with his friends, Nadine has to be there.
It's hard for me to then say, look guys, Tyler's different, so, if he wants to go, then I have to come along, or he can't go at all.
A simple subway ride hides dangers even Nadine couldn't imagine.
Tyler has been approached and detained by the New York Police Department just based on the way he looks.
The police were making a regular inspection at a subway station in the Bronx. But when Tyler was unable to communicate with the officers, they reached for their guns.
Because if I was not there to intervene and explain to the officers, I don't know what would have happened.
Nadine says her need to constantly supervise Tyler is impacting her private life. Although she says her divorce with Tyler's father had nothing to do with her son's autism, Nadine is concerned about her relationship with her significant other.
When Tyler is 30 years old and he's still at home with me, will that be fair to my companion? That's always in the back of my mind.
It's a strain on the family, and it can be a strain on all the relationships. And again, it's like there's that challenge, and then some people crumble and some people thrive.
It is a difficult balance. While mothers often voice their feelings of devastation,
well, it was very difficult for me. I think I came home crying in the car. I do remember that. I was, very upset about it. But then, Shrikant spoke to me, and thereafter I think my husband spoke to me several weeks. He kept telling me, you should start thinking about how to work with him instead of just, feeling that he's not going to be okay. Just find out what we can do about it.
Many fathers dwell on the possibilities that have been lost.
Daddy loves Christopher.
And Christopher loves Daddy.
So many fathers have a problem dealing with their son. More boys have it than girls, autism. And a lot of fathers have a problem because they envision what their world would be like for their son, playing baseball, being a chip off the old block, and everything's changed. But they had a dream for their child that's now different.
Dawn realized her child was different right from the beginning. But back in 1986, at the height of the crack epidemic, Dawn as a single mother had to convince the doctors she wasn't a drug abuser.
I'm like, I didn't take an aspirin. And I was in Harlem Hospital, and I had the doctors and the social workers come to my bed and say, we're going to take a test, and if she's positive, we're going to take her away from you and all of that stuff.
Dawn spent the next 5 years trying to find out what exactly was wrong.
she was having serious seizures. So I went and I saw the doctor, and she looked at me, and I thought, oh God, she's going to tell me I'm a nut again. And she just rolled her eyes. But then she started acting really weird and running around the room. And a nurse thought, this is not right, grabbed her, put her on a bed just in time. Grandma seizures. And the doctor said, ma'am, I am so sorry. I apologize. And I cried. I said, oh, thank God, now they know I'm not a nut. There's something wrong with her. And I thought, I was in tears. It was just relief that finally somebody saw what I was seeing.
Doctors nowadays are more aware of autism and its challenges. As for parents, there is a sense of community through their shared experience.
1 out of every 150 children have autism, but sometimes you feel so alone, even with those staggering numbers. So when you meet other families that experience what you experience, you have that automatic bond and kinship with them.
I think I probably would have lost my mind. Well, most of it. I've lost some of it. If it hadn't been for like Nadine, who I could call and just cry to or yell at or scream, and she would not say, I'm never going to talk to you again, because I've already said some things to this woman that you shouldn't say to anybody, and then even to somebody you're married to. But, it got me through it.
Dawn is a parent coordinator for the city's school system. She brings her personal experience in dealing with the disorder to other parents just learning of their child's diagnosis. She says she sees a broad spectrum of parents, some who are ready to accept their child's autism, and others who haven't come to terms with it.
So you have some parents in serious denial, and when they're like that, you just say, look, I'm here when you need to talk. And then you've got the other parents who are really finally come to accepting the disability and thinking, now what's it going to be like for my child? And then I say, well, I am a parent, and I tell them about Diana, and I show them pictures of her, and I talk about what it was like for me and how far she came, and it wasn't easy, so that they see that there's hope. And one of the biggest things is the hope factor.
But Dawn is not just giving advice. She is candid about just how important it was to share her experiences about Diana and how much she learned from other parents who helped her.
I had parents who had older kids who told me stuff that I didn't know, who educated me and gave me ideas and tips when I was going through stuff with Diana and the behavioral issues. And of course, she's a young lady, so she's going to have the period. And I'm like, how do you teach her? I'm like, how do you teach her to do this and be independent? And I'm terrified. And it was another parent. So I talked to that parent, and she told me, she broke it down to me, and I'm like, really, do I have to do this? She said, you have to show her. And I remember when Diana had a period, and I thought she's going to go to school and tell everybody. I said, please don't do this, please don't. And she went to school, and I remember I told the teachers and everybody, and a teacher wrote me, she said to me, you know what, Diana did everything she was supposed to do. She was so independent. It was the nicest thing anybody had ever said to me, because I taught her that. Because somebody taught me, another parent.
Every new skill is a small victory. A victory that helps parents get through the frustrating times with their children.
Good, look at you. I wouldn't know that.
When Chris was young, we were told that if he's not cured or talking by the time he's 5, it's over. Basically write him off, that he would never be able to gain the skills or increase. And we used to dread birthdays. Most parents, love their child's birthdays. We dreaded them. 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. It was horrible because he wasn't getting better. He wasn't increasing, he was actually getting worse. Now, I want to turn the clock ahead 10 years because there's no telling how far he's going to come. He's getting better every day. And I want to turn it 20 years ahead. There's no telling how far he can come. When Chris was younger and wasn't speaking at all, I made a promise that if he could ever ask for anything, I would get him everything he wants. Well, he finally, around 7, 8 years old, he started to talk. And he's been asking for things ever since, nonstop.
With
Right, Chris?
treatment and therapy, Chris has come a long way.
Let's go down the list. What do you want for your birthday?
Percy Takes the Plunge DVD.
Percy Takes the Plunge DVD?
Thomas and Friends Trackside Tunes DVD.
Right.
And Thomas the Friend Shaving Cream.
Right.
And Thomas Trackmaster with Thomas Trackmaster Hector and Thomas Trackmaster Billy.
You know, there's an old joke, don't sweat the small stuff, and everything is small stuff. What he's taught me to work hard, never stop, never surrender. You know, I owe that, owe that to my son. You know, we're supposed to teach our children. He's actually taught me.
Kids that are different can be very inspiring and challenge us to grow in ways we didn't imagine. I mean, I really think, for me, you know, my son helped me become a better father, a better man. He needed me to do that.
Shrikant takes care of Navneet and enjoys spending time with him. And he says he also enjoys his life.
He's still a kid, and I mean, for all these years we've been enjoying, so, you know, having fun all the time.
When people see their child making progress, then they feel hopeful, and they become more peaceful. And as that's happening, they're kind of falling in love with their child all over again, and enjoying their child and their child's progress and feeling good about what they're doing.
It doesn't matter that he can't communicate the way you and I communicate. It doesn't matter that he may have had behavioral issues that made it really hard for him to even get to that event. What matters is everybody's cheering and the other kids are giving him high fives. That, to me, is, you know, that's why I enjoy it so much.
And those other things that she enjoys. You know, she enjoys the nails. She enjoys the nails. And she enjoys going to Daniel's music. Now she'll be in Special Olympics and she loves the swimming. And that's a wonderful thing. That's one of the challenges, that now she's going to be in the adult world and there are no guarantees there. And so it's a new environment. It will be a new environment for both of us, and hopefully we'll get through that too. I know we'll get through that too.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.